The change of light periods around dawn and dusk are great times to chase snapper on both lures and baits. The fish tend to come in closer to shore at such times, and they feed less cautiously, especially in shallower water. But it really pays to keep your eyes peeled when you're travelling in low light conditions. You never know what might pop up in your path.
That one's not small.
Nope.
Mum and Dad.
Oh wow, there's at least 4. You should aim to have your lines in the water by the time the sun clears the horizon. This is the witching hour. Today I'm doing something that has proven to be highly effective for me in recent years. I've got 2 light to medium spin outfits, both rigged with Squidgy's soft plastics, and I plan to fish them both at the same time. I begin by casting one lure as far ahead of the drifting boat as I can, shaking off some extra line to help it sink through the water column, before closing the bail arm and dropping the outfit into a handy rod holder to do its own thing. I've got a different style of squidgy tail rigged on a slightly heavier jig head on the other outfit, and I cast this one also ahead of the boat but at a slightly different angle to avoid tangling the 2 lines. Then I let out some slack and place it in a rod holder as well. Note that the boat is drifting towards both lures, which helps them to sink. Even in almost 50 metres of water, it should take less than a minute to reach the seabed with a relatively small jig head. When the first one gets there and the line relaxes, I pick it up and work the lure with the rod. This rod work lifts the lure a few metres off the bottom. Then I drop the rod back in the holder and pick up the second outfit, repeating the process with that one. Watch the line carefully as it sinks again after being jigged, as it often gets hit at this point. Keep an eye on your sounder as well to monitor the depth and your drift pattern. Drop that outfit back in the holder and pick up the first one again. By now the boat will most likely be getting quite close to the point where the first lure landed, and the line will be almost straight up and down. At this stage, I give it a couple of jigs or whips and then start retrieving it. But don't go too fast, as many fish will chase it up and hit it well off the bottom, just like that. Some days many of your snapper will come this way, and you'll also pick up the odd pelagic in mid-water. Not the right kind, I don't think. Of course, not every single customer that smacks your soft plastics will be a highly desirable target species. This time I've pinned a small barracuda. As I wrestle with it and remove the hook, watch the rod in the holder behind me carefully as the second fish hits the lure but fails to hook up. Surprisingly, this doesn't happen all that often. Decent snapper usually hook themselves solidly. Meanwhile, at the other end of the boat, Joe's fishing with a heavier jig head and a slightly larger squidgy soft plastic behind our drift. This can also be effective, and sure enough, she's on. This is a better fish too, and it turns out to be the right kind, even if it's only a modest specimen.
Absolutely.
If you've never tried soft plastics for snapper and other reef species, you really need to give it a go. It works brilliantly and it's great fun. Don't be afraid to mix it up and try a couple of different outfits either. Tight lines